Hi everyone, so this is another video. It's a little bit different from my video yesterday because I don't have any more hot sauces that I want to try. I'm not trying the one I did yesterday because that was awful. Um, yeah, but anyways, this is a storytime video, and this video is about something embarrassing that happened to me in my first year in college. Um, yeah, this is the story of what happened to my recycling bin. And Sam, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. So the story starts essentially with me agreeing to go to this church cookout. Um, my mom recommended that I reach out to this group that is in Madison, which is where I am, and I did. And I assumed that since it was called the cookout, they would have food, and they didn't. They didn't have any food, and so I didn't eat anything before I went to this cookout. And by the time that I got back, I was super hungry. So right as I got back to my apartment, I called this local pizza place. Um, that has my favorite pizza. And I started talking to them on the phone, and I was just walking around when I noticed that I had to pee like terribly. But I was in the middle of making my order and I had already given them my card number, but I didn't tell them what I wanted. And for some reason, I was so hungry and I was so irrational that I thought that if I had given them my number, they would just charge something random to my card if I hung up. And so I didn't want to hang up because I felt like I was gonna get charged for a pizza that I didn't even want. I also was living in the dorms at the time, and so I didn't want to go into the bathroom because it was a communal bathroom, and I felt like it'd be really fucking weird to be sitting in the bathroom ordering a pizza and just have random people hearing you order your pizza while you're in the bathroom. So I didn't do that, which was probably the second best thing I could have done behind hanging up and just calling back in a few minutes. So what did I end up doing? I ended up just standing there having to pee horribly and just continuing to order my pizza. Um, and it didn't take long before it got to be an unbearable amount of urine. I mean, like, awful. Like, my insides literally felt like they were about to explode. So what happened next, I guess, was just kind of karma for making my body wait that long. So I was pacing around my dorm room and trying to keep my mind off of how badly I needed to take a fat piss because that was all I could do to keep from like peeing right there. But as I was pacing, I was also charging my laptop. I had my laptop cord plugged in and the cord was running along the floor and I ended up catching my foot under the cord and tripping. And so I stumbled and I like held my hands out and I caught myself, but I ended up running into the refrigerator in my room. And when I ran into the refrigerator, it jarred me so much that I was about to start peeing. I mean, I literally could not control it. It just started happening. And so I panicked because I was like, there's a carpet in here. I don't want to pee on the floor. This is not a good situation to be in. And so I didn't know what to do. I I just needed to find somewhere to pee because this was not going to end well, and I could tell. I still laugh when I tell this story because it's one of the most idiotic stories of my entire life. But yeah, what ended up happening was I saw the recycling bin that was practically empty as the most available target. So I walked over and I stood over it right as the floodgates opened, and I just ended up like putting a record-breaking amount of pee into that recycling bin. And I didn't really think about the consequences of my actions until it was over because it wasn't again, it wasn't something I could control. It wasn't like I thought about peeing in that recycling bin. It wasn't a voluntary decision. I was going to pee. It was just a matter of where, and I had about 3 seconds to decide. And so I chose the recycling bin instead of the carpeted floor. It was only after I was done peeing in the recycling bin that I started to think about what I had done. Um, I had stood pacing in my underwear while I was ordering because after I was done ordering, I was planning on going to the bathroom and taking a shower. But that didn't really matter now because I had pee running down the sides of my legs. I had a recycling bin full of pee. I had unfortunately gotten some on the carpet as hard as I tried to avoid that. Um, and I had to take care of all of it before my roommate got back. Um, because that was a situation and a scene that I really did not want to explain to him. So the logical thing to do would probably have been to take the recycling bin into the bathroom and try to wash it out or something. But as you probably can already tell, I was not thinking rationally at this particular moment in time. So what I did is I took the recycling bin and I quickly ran down the hallway and dumped it into the larger recycling bin and then hid the recycling bin in the garbage room. Um, then I went and ran back to my dorm room and started desperately trying to soap up and clean up the spots of pee on the floor where I had accidentally uh, dripped. And then I went and I threw my underwear away as well. And then I noticed another problem that I hadn't foreseen when this whole thing started. So, the issue that I hadn't foreseen is that we had two recycling bins in our room, and after all of this, we only had one. And as you guys probably can already tell, I was not in a rational state of mind, so I didn't do what the rational thing probably would have been, which is go down to the garbage room and clean out the recycling bin like I should have done in the first place and put it back and let everything go back to normal. No, what I did was I doubled down, and when my roommate got back, I told him that I had spilled a little bit of water near my bed and that's why I had a towel down, and he bought that no problem. And then I asked him if he knew what happened to the recycling bin, because I thought that if I was coy and acted like I had no idea what happened, I would have been the last person he would suspect to know what happened, and I'll be damned if it didn't work. He bought it. He was like, "No, I have no idea where it went. Did you leave the door unlocked?" I was like, "No, I didn't leave the door unlocked. Did you?" And he was like, "I never leave the room with the door unlocked." And we essentially came to the consensus that while one of us was taking a shower and left the room unlocked, somebody must have come and stolen nothing but the recycling bin from our room for reasons unknown to us. The story doesn't quite end there though, because there's one last thing I feel like I need to confess as I'm getting all of this off my chest. So as I already mentioned, I hid the bin in the garbage room at the end of the hallway on the floor where I was in my dorm building, and every time I went there to empty the trash or empty the one recycling bin that we still had, it served kind of as a shameful reminder of what happens when I'm not thinking straight. Also, it kind of left me in a state of constant fear that Sam was going to find it and somehow figure out that it was our bin, and wonder what happened to it and how it got there. And I was scared that he might have questions that I wouldn't be able to answer without folding. But the bin sat there, he didn't find it, and it sat there for a really long time. And it was about 6 months that had passed before the bin ultimately just disappeared from the place where I had put it, and I never ended up seeing it again. But there hasn't been a week that has gone by since this whole thing happened where I haven't thought at least once about what happened to the poor lady that probably found that recycling bin. She was probably just going along doing her job, and then she found this bin there and knew it wasn't supposed to be there, and so she grabbed it, and then she noticed it smelled or something. I don't know. I feel bad. I know that I could have handled the situation so much better, and I never got up the courage to tell anyone what happened. Um, And I never even got up the courage to like figure some way to bring the recycling bin back. I always thought about cleaning it and then like maybe putting it in front of our door and having Sam find it and be like, "Oh, hey, that must be our recycling bin and it came back," or something. But yeah, I've always just thought of how I could have handled that situation better, but anyways, yeah, that's how I made my recycling bin disappear and why. If you guys liked my funny story time video, I would appreciate if you subscribed, and I'll try to post videos daily or so for for right now. And yeah, thanks.